Welcome to English Every Day. Have you ever felt like your dreams are too big, too distant, or just out of reach? Well, you're not alone, and this story might just change the way you see your own potential. Today, we're diving into the early life of one of the most remarkable minds of our time, Bill Gates. He didn't start life with superpowers. He wasn't born a billionaire, a genius, or a prodigy. What he did have was a curious mind, a relentless work ethic, and an unshakable love for learning. His journey isn't just about building one of the world's largest tech empires or becoming one of the richest people alive. It's about how the fire of curiosity, the drive to improve, and the belief in learning can turn even the smallest sparks into a roaring blaze of achievement. This is not just Bill Gates' story. It's a roadmap for anyone who dares to dream big and refuses to give up. Born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington, Bill Gates, William Henry Gates III, grew up in a warm and supportive middle-class family. His father, William H. Gates Sr., was a disciplined and principled lawyer, while his mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, was a compassionate teacher and later a business leader. Bill wasn't raised in extreme wealth, but his household was rich in something else: encouragement, discipline, and education. From the time he was a toddler, his parents noticed something unique. Bill could sit silently for hours, fixated on a single object, his eyes filled with wonder. His natural curiosity wasn't just cute, it was unstoppable. By the age of 7, he was reading everything from history and science to legal books that were far beyond his grade level. He often escaped to the family's modest home library, a place that became his personal sanctuary of knowledge. Despite his brilliance, school didn't always capture his interest. The structured curriculum was too slow for his fast-moving mind. He often got bored and appeared distracted. When a teacher asked him why he wasn't paying attention, young Bill replied, "Because I've already read the book." That moment made it clear. He needed a more stimulating environment. His parents acted swiftly. They enrolled him in the prestigious Lakeside School, known for challenging and nurturing exceptionally bright students. It was a decision that would shape the rest of Bill's life, because it was there, at Lakeside, that he discovered something that would ignite his soul: computers. This was the late 1960s, a time when computers were giant, clunky machines reserved for large institutions and universities. Having one at a school was almost unheard of, but Lakeside had one, and the moment Bill touched a keyboard, something clicked. It was as if he had found his purpose. He started spending every spare moment in the computer lab. While his classmates played sports or socialized, Bill was learning to code. He was so passionate that he often skipped other classes, much to his teacher's annoyance, but even they couldn't deny his talent. One math teacher told him, "Bill, you just might change the world someday." At just 13 years old, Bill wrote his first computer program, a simple game of tic-tac-toe where users could play against the computer. It may have been a small achievement, but for Bill, it was groundbreaking. It proved to him that with code, he could create entire worlds. During these formative years, Bill met someone who would become his partner in revolutionizing the tech world: Paul Allen. Paul was a few years older, more reserved, and equally obsessed with technology. Despite their differences, Bill being energetic and outspoken, Paul being calm and thoughtful, their shared love for computers bonded them. They would spend hours talking about the future of technology. One afternoon, Paul said something that sounded crazy at the time. "Bill, I believe one day there will be a computer on every desk and in every home." At the time, it was a fantasy. Computers were rare, bulky, and expensive. But that one statement planted a seed in Bill's mind, a vision that would one day reshape the entire world. So, before we move into the next chapter of this incredible journey, ask yourself, what would happen if you dared to believe that your wildest idea could come true? What if, like Bill Gates, you trusted your curiosity and chased your passion no matter how distant it seemed? And as we continue, don't forget, this story is also an opportunity to grow your English. Write down any new words or phrases, practice them, and use Bill Gates's habit of learning something new every day as your own inspiration. Because the truth is, greatness doesn't start with genius. It starts with a question, a dream, and the courage to pursue it. Their vision was daring, their resources were limited, and yet Bill Gates and Paul Allen were determined to build a future where computers would be in every home and office. In those early days, computers were massive, expensive machines reserved only for universities and big businesses. But Bill and Paul looked past the limitations of the present and dared to imagine what the world could become. At just 15 years old, Bill wasn't only learning, he was already earning. Together, he and Paul launched their first venture, called Traf-O-Data. They created a program that could analyze traffic patterns for cities, and from this project, they earned $20,000, a staggering sum for teenagers in the 1970s. This experience was more than just a financial win. It gave Bill a crucial insight. Ideas are only valuable when you turn them into action. You can dream as big as the sky, but if you don't work hard and take calculated risks, dreams remain dreams. Traf-O-Data planted the seed that would later grow into something far bigger than either of them could have imagined. Though Bill was highly driven and focused, he wasn't all seriousness and no play. At Lakeside School, he would often sit with the girls, not to flirt, but because he found them to be more organized and attentive in class. This unique habit helped him develop social skills and confidence in building relationships, skills that would become valuable in the business world. He was also incredibly competitive. Whether it was solving a math problem or writing a piece of code, Bill hated losing. He thrived on challenges and often bet with friends on who could solve problems faster. His determination to be the best was clear even at a young age, but like all ambitious teenagers, he sometimes clashed with his parents. One evening, as Bill was glued to the glowing screen of a computer, his mother expressed concern. "Bill, you can't spend your whole life in front of a computer." Bill simply smiled and replied, "Why not, Mom? One day, computers will change the world, and I want to be part of that." Bill's vision extended beyond simply programming. Even then, he dreamed of building a company that would transform how people interact with technology. Late into the nights at Lakeside, he and Paul would stay up brainstorming. They didn't have all the answers, but they had one thing that mattered most: belief. In 1973, Bill took the next step in his journey and enrolled at Harvard University, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. His parents were proud and hopeful that Bill might follow in his father's footsteps and become a lawyer. But Harvard was just another chapter in his pursuit of technology. Instead of attending law lectures, Bill spent most of his time in the computer labs. He was more interested in writing code and solving real-world problems than studying textbooks. When one professor asked why he wasn't more focused on academics, Bill responded, "Because this is the future. Computers will change everything. I want to be ready." At Harvard, Bill wasn't just a student, he was a visionary. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 1974, while still in college, Bill and Paul read about the Altair 8800, the world's first personal computer. It was a game changer. Until then, computers were large, inaccessible machines. But the Altair made computing personal. Paul immediately called Bill, "Bill, this is it. We have to move fast, before someone else does." They didn't even own an Altair, but they knew they had to act. They got to work developing a programming language for the Altair, using only their instincts and deep understanding of code. It was a massive risk, writing software for a machine they hadn't even touched. But they believed in their skills. In 1975, at just 20 years old, Bill made a bold decision. He dropped out of Harvard to start a company with Paul. His parents were shocked and worried. His mother pleaded, "Bill, what are you doing? Harvard is your future." But Bill gently replied, "Mom, this is my future. Computers are my passion, and I can't let this opportunity pass." It was a brave move, leaving a world-class university with no guarantees and no safety net. But that's what true visionaries do. They leap when others hesitate. That same year, Bill and Paul co-founded Microsoft, a name derived from microcomputer software. Their goal was ambitious but clear, to create software for personal computers. The beginning was anything but glamorous. They had no office, no capital, and no team. Just two young men with passion and belief. Bill worked around the clock writing code, while Paul focused on partnerships and outreach. Their perseverance paid off. Their software for the Altair 8800 was a success, drawing attention from other companies and tech enthusiasts. Microsoft was beginning to make a name for itself, but Bill knew that building a company meant more than just writing code. It meant leading a team, managing growth, and turning a dream into a global legacy. And this was just the beginning. Stay tuned as we continue the incredible journey of Bill Gates, because the best is yet to come. Driven by the momentum of their early success, Bill Gates realized that building great software couldn't be a one-man mission. He needed brilliant minds around him. He began assembling a team of top-tier programmers and engineers, people who shared his relentless drive for innovation and excellence. Bill was known for being a demanding boss. He pushed his team hard, but he pushed himself even harder. Late nights were normal. He often stayed at the office until 2 or 3 a.m., obsessing over every line of code, ensuring that every product Microsoft released was as flawless as it could be. His work ethic sent a powerful message. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to be willing to give your absolute best, day in and day out. Then came the opportunity that would change everything. In 1980, a major tech company called IBM approached Microsoft. They were building a personal computer and needed an operating system to power it. At that time, Microsoft didn't have one, but Bill didn't let that stop him. Instead of turning them down, he promised IBM that Microsoft would deliver. Bill then acquired a simple operating system called QDOS from another developer, improved it, and rebranded it as MS-DOS. When Microsoft licensed it to IBM, it became a massive success. Every IBM computer sold would now run on Microsoft's software. This deal skyrocketed Microsoft from a modest startup to a key player in the tech industry. Bill was no longer just a programmer. He had become a visionary leader. He had a rare talent for inspiring his team, identifying market opportunities, and staying several steps ahead of the competition. One of his most quoted lines is, "Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose." He constantly reminded his team not to grow complacent. Even in success, he stressed humility and the importance of continual learning. "Never stop improving," he would say. "There's always a better way to do something." This mindset became the heartbeat of Microsoft. Though the company faced fierce competition and skepticism from critics, Bill kept his focus sharp. Each challenge only fueled his desire to innovate further. By the time he reached his mid-20s, Microsoft was booming. But for Bill, this was only the beginning. He envisioned a world where every home and office had a computer. He didn't just want to sell software. He wanted to redefine the way humans interacted with technology. In 1985, Microsoft launched Windows, a revolutionary operating system that introduced a graphical user interface, making computers easier for the average person to use. Before Windows, computers operated via command line inputs that intimidated most people. But with Windows, users could simply point, click, and navigate. It was intuitive, visual, and powerful. Windows was a game changer. Microsoft had created something that not only worked, it connected with people. It was soon running on millions of computers worldwide. Bill's childhood dream of bringing computers into every household was no longer a fantasy. It was becoming reality. Of course, Microsoft wasn't alone. Companies like Apple were also pushing the boundaries of innovation. Steve Jobs, Apple's co-founder, was both a rival and a strange sort of kindred spirit to Bill. While their personalities and philosophies often clashed, Jobs with his passion for elegant design and Gates with his focus on practical software, they respected each other's strengths. Steve once said, "Bill is unimaginative, but he's brilliant at running a company." In return, Bill acknowledged, Steve had a flair for design like no one else. He made things beautiful. Though they were different in style, their goals aligned. They both wanted to use technology to reshape the world. Then, in 1987, something incredible happened. At just 31 years old, Bill Gates became the youngest self-made billionaire in history. From a boy who once stayed up late in a school computer lab, he had transformed into one of the wealthiest and most influential figures on the planet. Yet even with immense success, Bill didn't slow down. He believed that wealth came with a responsibility to give back. One of his most powerful quotes captures this belief. "If you are born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault." Bill firmly believed that through education, effort, and perseverance, anyone could change their life. While Microsoft continued to grow, so did Bill's personal life. In 1987, he met a brilliant, compassionate woman named Melinda French. She worked at Microsoft and quickly impressed Bill with her intellect and kindness. They shared a vision, not just of building technology, but of using their success to make a real difference in the world. Their connection deepened, and in 1994, Bill and Melinda were married in a quiet, private ceremony in Hawaii. It was the beginning of a partnership that would eventually extend far beyond business or family. It would lead to one of the most impactful philanthropic efforts the world has ever seen. Their story, both professional and personal, was only just beginning. And as the world was about to see, Bill Gates wasn't finished changing it. Their wedding was simple yet deeply meaningful, a quiet celebration that reflected their humble, down-to-earth personalities. Bill and Melinda Gates, now husband and wife, went on to raise 3 children with love and purpose. Their first daughter, Jennifer Gates, was born in 1996. She grew into a graceful and accomplished equestrian, later pursuing a medical degree. Their second child, Rory Gates, came into the world in 1999. Known for his intelligence and thoughtfulness, Rory preferred to stay out of the spotlight, embracing a life of quiet learning. In 2002, they welcomed Phoebe Gates, a bright and passionate young woman who, much like her father, developed a strong interest in education and innovation. Despite their immense wealth, the Gates family made a conscious decision not to spoil their children. They chose a life of moderation and values. Bill and Melinda emphasized the importance of humility, hard work, and compassion. The children were taught to earn their achievements and to appreciate the privileges they had been born into, not take them for granted. Running Microsoft, one of the world's most powerful tech empires, was far from easy. As the company's leader, Bill often found himself under public scrutiny. Critics called him too aggressive. Others accused Microsoft of using monopolistic practices to dominate the software industry. In the late 1990s, this tension reached a boiling point. The United States government filed a major antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft. The case, which dragged on for years, was both emotionally and professionally taxing. But Bill faced the challenge with unshakable resolve. He owned up to his company's mistakes, learned valuable lessons, and emerged stronger. As he matured, Bill's perspective on life evolved. He began to see his wealth as more than a symbol of success. It was a tool, a powerful means to make a difference. In 2000, Bill and Melinda co-founded the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which would become one of the most influential charitable organizations on the planet. Its mission? To solve some of the world's most pressing problems. The foundation's work spans across multiple areas: global health, fighting deadly diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS; education, helping children in underprivileged regions access quality schooling; clean water, building systems to ensure safe drinking water in struggling communities. Bill once said, "Money has no utility to me beyond a certain point. Its utility is in building an organization and getting resources out to the poorest in the world." That belief shaped the foundation's philosophy and guided every project they launched. Throughout his journey, Bill has shared countless words of wisdom that continue to inspire millions. Some of his most powerful quotes include, "I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it." This highlights the value of simplicity and innovation in problem solving. Don't compare yourself with anyone in this world. If you do, you are insulting yourself. Bill encouraged people to walk their own path and focus on their unique journey. Patience is a key element of success. A reminder that meaningful results take time, effort, and resilience. People are often fascinated by Bill Gates' wealth. It's estimated that in just 1 second he earns around $127. In 1 minute, that's over $7,600. And in a single day, his earnings can exceed $10 million. But despite this astonishing income, Bill chooses not to live extravagantly. His focus remains on helping others and using his fortune to improve the world. One day, a young journalist nervously sat across from Bill Gates during an interview. Eager to learn the secret behind Bill's success, he asked, "Sir, what is the key to your success?" Bill smiled, pulled out a blank check, and handed it to the reporter. "Write any amount you want and take it," he said calmly. The journalist was stunned. He laughed nervously and replied, No, sir. I'm not here for money. I want to learn from you." But Bill persisted. "I'm serious. Write any amount. Take it." The young man grew uncomfortable. "Sir, I can't. I respect you too much. I don't want your money." Bill leaned in and said, "And that, right there, is the secret of my success. When I see an opportunity, I take it. I don't hesitate. You had a chance, but you passed on it. Most people miss their biggest opportunities not because they lack talent, but because they're afraid to act." The journalist finally understood. Success doesn't just belong to the hardest worker. It belongs to those who are willing to take risks. By the early 2000s, Microsoft stood tall as a titan of the tech world. Bill Gates had built more than a company. He had shaped an industry. He was admired globally. But deep down, Bill realized something profound. He wanted his legacy to be about more than just business. In 2006, Bill made a decision that surprised many. He announced that he would be stepping down from his daily role at Microsoft. Why walk away from the very empire he built? Bill's answer was simple. "I've been very lucky to achieve success in technology. Now I want to spend my time giving back." With that, Bill Gates turned a new chapter in his life, one dedicated not to profits, but to purpose. And that's the story of how a curious boy from Seattle became a billionaire who used his mind to change the world and his heart to help it heal. Continuing from his decision to step back from Microsoft, Bill Gates poured his time and energy into a mission far greater than building software. He dedicated himself full-time to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This wasn't just another philanthropic effort. It was and remains one of the most ambitious global humanitarian projects ever launched. Bill once said, "The goal is to give every child, no matter where they are born, a chance to live a healthy and productive life." Naturally, some critics questioned the true impact of such large-scale efforts. Some accused Gates of using philanthropy to increase his influence. But Bill didn't let the noise distract him. He once remarked, "If I listened to every critic, I'd never get anything done. Focus on the work, not the noise." That sentiment is powerful, not just for billionaires, but for anyone striving toward a goal. Doubt and criticism are inevitable. Staying committed is what defines success. Importantly, Bill's approach to philanthropy wasn't about throwing money at problems. He believed in finding smart, sustainable solutions. One of his key interests became clean energy. Understanding that climate change posed a massive threat to global health and safety, he began investing in renewable energy initiatives, from solar and wind to next-generation nuclear energy. His belief? That with enough scientific investment and global cooperation, even the world's toughest problems could be solved. Despite stepping down from his role at Microsoft, Gates never stopped inspiring. He traveled the world, delivering speeches at universities and global forums. His message was consistent: dream big, take action, don't wait. One of his most famous pieces of advice is, don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, take risks, make mistakes, learn from them. Surprisingly, for one of the world's wealthiest individuals, Gates lives a life rooted in simplicity and discipline. Though he owns a large home, he avoids unnecessary luxuries. He prefers time with family, meaningful work, and lifelong learning. He and Melinda raised their 3 children, Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe, with values that reflected those beliefs. They didn't hand over vast fortunes. In fact, they made the conscious choice to donate most of their wealth to charity. As Bill put it, "I want my kids to have their own identity. Giving them too much money would take away their motivation." Even in daily life, Gates maintains a routine built on intellectual growth and curiosity. He begins each day reading about science, history, and current global issues, because, as he says, reading expands your mind and helps you think critically. Throughout the day, he continues working on foundation projects, collaborating with scientists and thought leaders. In the evenings, he plays bridge with friends, a card game he enjoys for its strategic challenge. This constant pursuit of learning and self-improvement became especially visible during the COVID-19 pandemic. Gates, having long warned about the threat of global pandemics, stepped up. His foundation donated billions to help develop and distribute vaccines, especially in underdeveloped countries that otherwise might not have had access. More than a story about wealth or business, Bill Gates's life tells us something deeper about success. For him, true success isn't defined by how much you earn, but by how much you give. In his words, the true measure of success is not how much you've achieved, but how many lives you've improved. Even now, well into his later years, Gates remains an active force in the world's fight against inequality, disease, and climate change. The Gates Foundation works on solutions to eradicate malaria and polio, reform education systems, and build climate resilience. Gates continues to remind us, the future is not something we enter, it's something we create. By 2023, he had donated over $50 billion through the foundation. Yet, it's not the dollar amount that defines his legacy, it's the philosophy. He believes that wealth should serve the world. As he often says, if you're fortunate enough to be successful, you have a duty to give back. Wealth should be used to solve problems, not to create them. And that belief has sparked a movement. Bill Gates's giving inspired dozens of billionaires to join what's known as the Giving Pledge, promising to donate the majority of their wealth to causes that benefit humanity. His influence extends far beyond technology. It's a blueprint for purposeful living. So what can we learn from Bill Gates? Dream big, work hard, keep learning, and never forget to give back. Because success isn't just what you build. It's how you use it to build a better world for others. In our previous moments, we saw how Bill Gates transformed from a passionate tech visionary into a global philanthropist. Now, let's conclude his extraordinary journey with a powerful reminder of how giving back can change the world. In 2010, Bill Gates, along with fellow billionaire Warren Buffett, launched an initiative that would shift the course of modern philanthropy, the Giving Pledge. This bold commitment called on the wealthiest individuals around the globe to donate the majority of their wealth to charitable causes. What began as a visionary idea quickly became a global movement. Today, over 230 billionaires have taken the pledge. Their collective promise sends a clear message. True greatness is not defined by what you accumulate, but by what you contribute. But even amidst global admiration, Bill Gates' personal life saw its share of trials. In 2021, after 27 years of marriage, Bill and Melinda Gates announced their divorce. It was a deeply personal moment, unfolding under the public eye. Yet rather than letting this chapter overshadow their purpose, they rose above it. Together, they continued to lead the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, placing their shared mission above their differences. This act of maturity and unity offers a powerful lesson. While challenges are inevitable, how we respond to them defines who we are. Throughout his life, Bill Gates has shared countless insights, nuggets of wisdom that continue to inspire generations. Let's look at 5 of his most empowering messages. Dream big, start small. Don't wait for the perfect time. Begin where you are with what you have. Build step by step. Embrace failure. Failure isn't the enemy. It's part of the journey. Each misstep brings you closer to growth. Value time. Time is your most precious resource. Spend it learning, creating, and helping others. Stay curious. The world is full of problems, but also solutions. Keep asking questions. Keep seeking answers. Lead with kindness. Compassion is strength. Do good, not for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. Bill once said, "At the end of the day, it's not about the money, the fame, or the awards. It's about the people you love and the difference you've made." That belief has defined his legacy. From a boy who loved reading and playing with computers to a man who has shaped industries, improved lives, and inspired millions, Bill Gates' life proves one thing. Greatness doesn't depend on where you start. It depends on how far you're willing to go. Let's summarize the enduring lessons of his journey. Education is power. Never stop learning. Knowledge is the foundation of all progress. Take action. Start now. Even the biggest dreams begin with a small, brave step. Be resilient. Life will test you, but every challenge is a stepping stone to growth. Give back. True success is measured by the lives you touch and uplift. Stay humble. No matter how high you rise, stay grounded. Your character matters most. Bill Gates' influence will ripple across generations. From revolutionizing personal computing with Microsoft to battling global disease and poverty, his actions speak louder than words. His legacy is not just a story of success, but a shining example of vision, work ethic, and compassion. So, what about you? What kind of legacy will you build? No matter your background, no matter your obstacles, you too have the power to create meaningful change. Be bold, be kind, be curious, and never stop learning. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey through the life of Bill Gates. If you found this story motivating, share it with someone who needs a spark of inspiration. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to English Every Day, your channel for powerful stories, practical English, and life-changing lessons. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep growing, and keep believing.